Welcome back. This is the third in the series of videos following my participation in the 2023 Round Britain Rally. This time I have 7 landmarks for you, and they cover the rest of the Midlands and the M62 corridor. Unfortunately, most of the riding video I have isn't actually going to these landmarks, but hopefully I've got enough there to keep you entertained. Without further ado, on with the video. Despite what your eyes are telling you, we are on our way to Naseby in Northamptonshire. The piece to the camera really says all that needs saying about this landmark, although there is an awful lot to learn about the English Civil War. Or maybe that should be the British Civil Wars. Google is your friend here. Now then, welcome back. So you now find me in Northamptonshire with another sticky up thing. This one is the Battle of Naseby Memorial, and Naseby is just into Northamptonshire on the Northamptonshire-Leicestershire border, and is the place of the decisive battle of the English Civil War, when Oliver Cromwell's New Model Army defeated Charles I and Rupert of the Rhine. Now on to the next one. So that's the Battle of Naseby Memorial done. Now we're on our way to Chesterton Windmill in Warwickshire. Now then, how do again? This time we've come for Chesterton Windmill, which is Warwickshire's contribution to the party. And there it is. Quite a long distance shot for your little GoPro, but it's also quite a long way away from my bike and my bits, so I'm not going to go too far. But managed to get my photograph. It's a lovely location, just off the Foss Way in Warwickshire. I was going to say I thought it was a wind pump because there's no works underneath, but apparently it was actually a mill. I'll look into that, and I may do a bit more conversation later. Anyhow, that's 2 down for today. I've got another 2 to do. I've got to get a bit further after that before I stop. So I'll crack on. Speak to you soon. Bye for now. As you'll have seen from the photo and videos, Chesterton Windmill is a cylindrical stone structure with an arched base. It was built around 1632 to 1633 by Sir Edward Peyto, who was Lord of Chesterton Manor. It's the earliest tower windmill that still retains its working parts, although at the time of the video it seemed to have lost its sails. Originally there was a timber structure in the open space at the bottom of the tower. This would have contained a staircase and a storage area. Above it, in the tower, there were 2 floors. On the lower of the 2 floors were 2 pairs of millstones. The mill was used up until just before World War I, when the complex mechanism for turning the cap broke, and the miller abandoned it for Harbury Mill, which is about a mile away. Obviously it got late soon, so I only managed one more RBR landmark, which was Dunsall Castle in Worcestershire. That's coming up. There's not a great deal to add after the piece to camera, but I will tell you a little bit about which estate it's on. Welcome back. So now we've got ourselves a folly. This is Dunsall Castle. If I pan you up to the top, you can see all of it. So this was part of an estate and let me go and read what it says. So it's now part of the National Trust, but it's an 18th century landscape designed by Lancelot Capability Brown, and the designer Robert Adam designed it as an eye catcher so that you could see it from points around the park and realise how huge the Earl's estate was. And I will go and walk across the road so that you can see just how big the folly is. You have to wonder whether follies like that these days would ever be built. But then again, there is the HS2, of course. Or is that too political? Anyhow, there you go. Dunstan Castle, a bit of a folly. See you later. As I said before, Dunstan Castle was an 18th century folly. It was part of the Croom Court estate and is 1 mile south of Croom Court, the main house. We've started another day now, and this is the only footage that was actually taken on the way to a landmark. We're heading to Cradley Heath, West Midlands, and the Mary MacArthur statue. More after the piece to camera. Now then, how do? Yeah, you find me at Cradley Heath, in the middle of, well, towards the middle of Birmingham. I'm sure the Brummies would disagree. And what we've come to see is that statue. Now, I will confess I have forgotten quite what Mary MacArthur did to the Warrington statue. So, when I get home, there'll be a voiceover and I'll tell you why, what and why. But for the moment, here we are, middle of Birmingham, and it's not my favourite sort of place to be. So I'm going to turn this off and do one real quick. See you soon. Mary MacArthur, who was born on the 13th of August 1880 and lived until the 1st of January 1921, was born and raised in Glasgow. She was politically active in the trades union movement and the suffragette movement. She's celebrated here because of her work with the women chainmakers of Cradley Heath. In 1910 she established the right of the women chainmakers to have a fair wage. Before the 10-week strike that she organised, many of these women were existing on starvation wages. So obviously a really important person to have a statue in Cradley Heath. Next we're off to Merseyside. As this was pretty much all motorway, I'll leave you with some more of the route from Cradley Heath. How do again? So, now we're in Merseyside. And this is the site of the old Moss Side Hospital. It's now a railway station called Maghole North. But to commemorate the hospital, we have this, which is a statue called Compassionate in Conflict. It remembers the work done by the hospital for people suffering from shell shock and from post-traumatic stress disorder, as it was called now. And this was specialisation of the hospital. It talks about the number of people who were shot for being cowards because that they were not well. The statue Compassion in Conflict. Compassion in Conflict. This is a statue of two people, one supporting the other. It was sculpted by Andrew Edwards and cast by the Castle Fine Arts Foundry. It was unveiled in December 2018. The subject of the statue and the work of the hospital is pretty affecting. If you're interested, there is a good article by the Imperial War Museum. I'll put a link in the description. The section on Private Jimmy Smith is horrific. It's noteworthy that the 306 soldiers shot for desertion in World War I all received posthumous pardons from the Ministry of Defence in 2006. You're watching more of the ride to Cradley Heath, as I took the motorway and then urban roads from the railway station to Ringley for the Manchester RBR. That wasn't a very exciting ride. Welcome back again. So, from Merseyside to Greater Manchester, and you find me in Ringley, and the landmarks are the old church tower from St Saviour's Church and the Ringley Bridge, which is that one there. Rather bucolic scene for so close to one of Britain's major cities. There we go. It's also slightly damp, which is why I've not bothered getting the decent audio out. But hopefully you can hear me. And there we are. Right, one more and then home. I don't have much more to add than the piece to the camera. The clock tower is all that remains of St Saviour's Church that was erected in 1625. The new church behind it dates from 1850 to 1854. The bridge that crosses the River Irwell was built in 1677 at a cost of £500 to replace a wooden bridge which was washed away in 1673. On to the final landmark of the day, which is on the outskirts of Leeds. You've noticed that I've taken pity on this time, and you're watching a ride into the sunset across Wales. Apologies for the lack of audio with the clip. The statue is next to the A660 in Bramhope, and I was there at rush hour. The statue is by a local sculptor, Shane Green, and it was erected to celebrate the Olympic success of the Brownlee brothers who live in the village. In 2012, Alistair won a gold medal and Johnny won a bronze one at the Olympic Games. That's it for this day. I'm heading home. If it isn't obvious, the episodes correspond to the trips out I made to collect the landmarks. So some will be single day trips, some multi-day trips. This will mean that the length of the videos is variable. That's it for this time. As always, please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.